ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोकैर्भक्तिर्भवति नष्टकी। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दं मां चैतन्यैश्वरम्। उवाच अवधार्या विरञ्चस्य निर्वलीकामृतं वचः प्रहस्य प्रेमगर्भेण तदपाङ्गेन सोऽग्रहीत्।
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Master said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the Creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayers with a glance laden with love.
ततास्पत्नं मुखतः चरन्तमकुतो भयं जघानोत्पत्त्या गदया हनावसुरमक्षजः।
The Lord, who had appeared from the nostril of Brahma, sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was talking fearlessly before him.
ताहता तेन गदया विहता भगवत्करात् विगूर्णिता पद्रेजे तदद्भुतमिवाभवत्।
Struck by the demon's mace, however, the Lord's mace slipped from his hand and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderfully.
स तदा लब्धतीर्थोऽपि नाबबाधे निरायुधं मान्यन् समृद्धे धर्मं विश्वक्सेनं प्रकोपयन्।
Even though the demon had an excellent opportunity to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, thereby kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord.
गदायां पविद्धायां हाहाकारे विनिर्गते मान्यामास तद्धर्मं सुनाभं चास्मरद्विभुः।
As the Lord's mace fell to the ground and a cry of alarm arose from the witnessing crowd of gods and rishis, the personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarshan discus.
तं व्यग्रचक्रं दितिपुत्राद्मेन स्वपार्श्वमुखेन विसज्जमानं चित्रावाचो तद्विधां खेचराणां तत्र समासन् स्वस्ति ते मुञ्जहीति।
As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hands, and the Lord contended at the close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who had been born as Hiranyaksha, the wild son of Diti, there issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who were witnessing from aeroplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you! Pray dispatch him! Play no more with him!"
सतं निशाम्यात् रथाङ्गमक्रतो व्यवस्थितं पद्मपलाशलोचनं विलोक्य चामर्ष परिप्लुतेन्द्रियो रुषा स्वदन्तच्छतमादश्वसन्।
When the demon saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshana discus, his senses were overpowered by indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent, and he bit his lip in great resentment.
करालदंष्ट्रचक्षुर्भयां सञ्चक्षाणो दहन्निव अभिप्लुत्या स्वगदया हतोऽसीताहन्नधरिम्.
The demon, who had fearful tusks, stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burst him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain."
पदाश्रयेण तां साधो भगवान् यज्ञसुकरः लीलयामिषतः शत्रो प्राहर्दवातरं हसम्.
O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on, the Lord in his bow form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest.
आचार्युन्मादस्व घटस्व त्वं जिगीषसि इत्युक्तः स तदा भूयस्ताडयन् व्यनदद्भृशम्.
The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenging these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared.
तां स्वाप्ततिं वीक्ष्य भगवान् समवस्थितः जग्राहलील्या प्राप्तां गुरुत्मानिपन्नगीम्.
When the Lord saw the mace flying towards him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, who says a serpent.
स्वपौरुषे परिहते हतमानो महासुरः नैच्छद्गदां दीयमानां हरिणा विगतप्रभः.
His valor thus frustrated, the great demon fell humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead.
जग्राह त्रिशिखं शूलं ज्वलज्ज्वलन् यज्ञाय धृतरूपाय विप्रायाभिचरन्यथा.
He now took a trident, which was as rapacious as flaming fire, and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmana.
तदोजसा दैत्यमहाभटार्पितं चकासदन्तः ख उदीर्णदीधिति चक्रेण चिच्छेदनिशातनेमिना हरिरथा ताक्षरपतत्रमुज्झितम्.
Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshana, which had a sharp-edged beam, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda.
विक्रणे सशूले बहुधारिणा हरेः प्रत्येत्यपिस्तीर्णमुरो विभूतिमत् प्रवृद्धरोषाः सकठोरमुष्टिना नदन् प्रहृत्यानतधीयतासुरः.
The demon was enraged with his trident, was cut to pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced towards the Lord, and roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Shivasta. Then he was out of sight.
तेनेतमाहतः क्षत्र भगवानादिसुकरः नाकम्पत मनाक्वापि स्रजाहत इव द्विपः.
Hit in this manner by the demon, O Vidura, the Lord who had appeared as the firstborn did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body, any more than an elephant would when struck with a wreath of flowers. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you Mataji, thank you.
Krishna, thank you so much. It was such amazing reading. So, thank you so much. So, we're going to probably repeat some of the shlokas. There's not many purports in the 8 shlokas we plan to do today. So, Canto 3, chapter 19, verse 8 to 14 is what we're going to look to do. Um, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Canto 3, chapter 19, verse 8. Karaladam trust chakshurбhyam shankar shan shanchak sano dahaniva abhiplutya swagadaya hato asti ahanadharim. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The demon who had fearful tusks stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You're slain." We'll just read all the text again. So, text 9. Padas savyena tam sadho Bhagavan yajna shukaraha Leelaya misata satro praharad vat ramhasan. Translation: O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on, the Lord, in his boar form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest. Verse 10. Aha chayudham adhatsva ghatasva tvam jigi shashi iti yukta satada bhuyas ta tadayan vyanadad brasham. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and only once more loudly roared. Text 11. Tamsa apatatim vikshaya Bhagavan samavasthita jagraha leelaya praptam garutman eva panagim. Translation: When the Lord saw the mace flying towards him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent. 3 and 1912. Swaparusho pratihate hata mano mahasura naichad gadam diyamananam harina vigata prabha. Translation: His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. Verse 13. Jagraha Trishikam Shulam Jwalaj Jwalana Lolupam Yajnaya Dhritarupaya Vipraya Bhicharan Yatha. Translation: He now took a trident which was as rapacious as a flaming fire and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmana. This is the last verse today, 14. Tad ojasa daitya maha bhatarpitam chakasad antaka udirna didhiti chakrena chichedan nishat nimina hariryatha tarksya patatram ujitam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshan, which had sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The context of the reference given herein regarding Garuda and Indra is this. Once upon a time, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, snatched away a nectar pot from the hands of the demigods in heaven in order to liberate his mother Vinata from the clutches of his stepmother Kadru, the mother of the serpents. On learning of this, Indra, the king of heaven, hurled his thunderbolt against Garuda with a view to respect the infallibility of Indra's weapon. Garuda, though otherwise invincible, being the Lord's own mount, dropped one of his wings, which was shattered to pieces by the thunderbolt. The inhabitants of high planets are so sensible that even in the process of fighting, they observe the preliminary rules and regulations of gentleness. In this case, Garuda wanted to show respect for Indra since he knew that Indra's weapon must destroy something. He offered his wing. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना ललिता सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुदेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatari Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you again for giving me an opportunity to say a few words. As I said, I'm very early in my uh, spiritual life and have no knowledge, no realization, just being very fortunate that I've heard lectures or listened to lectures on these topics and trying to say something. Please shower your blessings that I can say something that is of value, and ask for forgiveness if I say anything wrong or not so appropriate. So, if you just maybe start with the context of where we are in third canto, so we know how the through the union of Diti and Kashyap Muni, the two big demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, appeared, and Hiranyaksh is um, um, who is digging Mother Earth again and again to extract all the gold, which destabilizes her from the orbit. Mother Earth falls down into Garbhodakshaya ocean. Swambhu Manu goes to Lord Brahma to request him that um, please help to reinstate her. Lord Brahma says, I cannot do anything. Let's go to the Lord. They go to Lord Vishnu, who then appears as Lord Varadev, who goes into the bottom of Garbhodakshai ocean. While he's there, Hiranyaksh, who is very, very powerful, goes and challenges um, um, the Lord of the water or sea, Varun Dev, that I want to fight. He says, no, 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 go fight with the Lord. He's just appeared. Um, and then the Lord was putting Mother Earth back into the top of the ocean, where he um, instills his energy in Mother Earth so that she can float. And he comes back and they start to fight. And here we are, where um, the Lord Brahma and the Devtas, they're slightly worried, as they seem to be fighting both with equal vigor. And Lord Brahma requests um, Lord Varadev to kill Hiranyaksha. So we come to in this chapter where the title of the chapter is Killing of Demon Hiranyaksha. And we knew that the chapter starts where, in fact, the demon has the first act, and um, he gets the Lord's mace um, to go away, as in he strikes it so that Lord becomes unarmed. Obviously, Lord invokes his Sudarshan Chakra as well, and then as the Lord was playing around with the demon, the there were the two cans, the Devatas were saying, please kill him," and then the demon also goes for it, having been encouraged by the little success he had with Lord's mace. He tries to go with his full vigor to hit at the Lord, and he starts to. It says here, he sprang into the air and armed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming, "You are slain." It reminds me, I have a son who is now 11, but when he was 4-year old, he and I would do wrestling. And he was 4 year old, right? Now he's 11. But like, imagine like he was soft, and we would be like, he would come at me and say, Akraman, and then I will fall down just like that, right? And then I'll go and take a position on him, and then we would fight like that. And it seems like Lord is just playing with him, where he's just letting him do things. I was hearing His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, where he was talking about this particular incident, and I'll probably read the transcription where he talks about the battle between Varadev and Hiranyaksha, and he says, Maitreya Muni explains to Vidura the blow by blow action of this great battle, which was something wonderful. And for those who like matches of two strong personalities, you will find the fulfillment of all our desires in this wonderful battle within Varadev and Hiranyaksha. There's no need to go to the world of wrestling federation matches in Ladar. I see the signs everywhere. People are trying to imitate Hiranyaksha. They put on all these masks and everything um, they are like little babies compared to Hiranyaksha, and they fight against each other. And in America, then he goes on to say how WWF is making all these money, and how the boxing fights which are going on are making all this money. Of course, most people are going to those fights for entertainment, and how this fight, which is happening in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is blow by blow description like any fight. But it is not only giving entertainment, but it is giving both education and enlightenment. And this is how, the Lord's Leela is so beautiful that it can actually purify us, whereas, a mundane fight with the same description will only probably entertain our mind. Whereas this has got so much more purification, as it is said, Jan Karm Chame Divyam Yume Veti Tatvata Tyakta Devam Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Savarjana. So, like Krishna says, one who understands his activities, not, his birth and activities, his appearance and activities, he will not take birth again. So, like, that's the purpose of our human existence, to get to, um, learn about the Lord, to learn to love Him, in fact, eventually. So in this fight, of course, we see that the demon sometimes is getting springing into the air with his mace on the Lord, and shouting, and then the Lord is knocking down his mace with his left foot. It is phenomenal that the demon, who is in fact none other than the Vijay of Jay Vijay, but like how he has got access to the Lord's lotus feet. Yogis do tapasya for many, many thousands and thousands of years to try to have access to Lord's lotus feet. And here the Lord with his feet is effortlessly knocking down his mace, but with the speed of the wind. But he has got access to Lord's lotus feet um, as the two are fighting. And then, of course, the Lord goes on to say, "Take your weapon," and given that his weapon is gone, the demon, of course, has got full of ego, because Hiranyaksha thinks it's beneath him to pick up something that the Lord has already. He doesn't want charity from the Lord, and he wants to fight the Lord with equal vigor. And then we know the Lord. But the Lord, now that Lord Brahma has prayed to him, the Lord is now almost in a mood to finish him off, where the Lord very easily catches his mace. Um, it says here, Lord playfully caught hold of the mace just as Garuda would seize a serpent. I was listening to a lecture where one of the Prabhus was saying that um, how Garuda, Kalia serpent who was there um, in Vrindavan, before Vrindavan, he used to stay in somewhere in Fiji Islands, he was saying, and how he was creating, or there were lots of snakes, and Garuda would come every day and he would eat a lot of them. So they had a pact. Garuda had a pact with the snakes there that every day he would come and snakes would give one of them for Garuda to eat. Then he will not disturb them. And then in the same place, Kalia was like was not willing to play along, and then Garuda got really angry and he chastised Garuda, and Garuda had to flee Fiji, and then he came to Vrindavan. But Garuda could seize a serpent like anything. Like that's like he's so powerful, but also we know how serpents were his biggest enemies and the one he could play with. And the Prabhu was saying how we catch noodles with our with this chopsticks. If you eat them with chopsticks, Garuda could just play around with the snakes like that. Um, his and Hiranyaksh felt humiliated and he hit back at the Lord. Um, and then um, and then it goes on around how Hiranyaksh invoked the deadly trident, which was um, full of fire, and threw it at the Lord. And then the Lord used his Sudarshan Chakra as if as Indra's Vajra had once cut off the wing of Garuda. We know there's a long story as to how um, Garuda wanted to, and Srila Prabhupada explains it in the purport, like how Garuda wanted to um, uh, save his mother, and one of the condition that his stepmother had kept is that he had to bring the pot of nectar. And when Garuda took the pot of nectar to give it to his stepmother, Indra sent his Vajra, which was made of the Dichi Muni's, bones. We know how strong is Indra's Vajra. And as a result, Garuda, just like we remember, like even Hanumanji, when Brahmastra was in or Nagpash was thrown at him, he decided to get bound by it. Similarly, Garuda accepted and to keep the um, the respect of the Vajra or the Dichimuni's bones, and the so much of tapa bal within the Vajra that he accepts for his wing to be cut. So I think it is phenomenal how this uh, the whole battle between the Lord and Hiranyaksha is going on here. I was listening to um, um, Amaresh Prabhu, and he was saying that how Amarendra Prabhu, and he was saying, Lord appears, and Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, for paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sanstapna athaya. So he says, paritranaya sadhunam, to protect the devotees. And we all know Prahlad. Lord Nrsingadev appears after so long, but there were so many times Prahlad was in danger and he required protection. We know when he was thrown in the pit of snakes, when he was thrown from the mountain, when he was put in fire. There was tridents, and what saved him was holy name. So Lord doesn't need to appear to save his devotees, but his name can save him. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. So to kill the demons, the Lord can use the material nature to kill. There could be a heart attack, there could be an earthquake, and the demon can get killed. The Lord doesn't need to appear even to do vinashaya cha dushkritam, to kill the demons. And dharma sansthapanarthaya, to establish dharma. He can say one of his beloved devotees like Srila Prabhupada, and he can establish dharma. Lord doesn't need to appear himself. So why does Lord appears? Actually, as also reading this book Bhagavad by His Holiness Keshav Maharaj, and he was saying that the internal reason is Lord appears to experience joy, playfulness, and a variety of loving exchanges with his devotees. So yeah, the Lord is enjoying with Jaya Vijay. He's experiencing the rasa of this fight. But at the same time, he's enticing our hearts so that we remember him more and more, because we remember his leelas and his pastimes all the time. Yeah, I'll probably just pause there. I don't know if people have any comments, any additions, any corrections. No? Then we can just call it there. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu devacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mata.